Well, Ezra Miller's Flash movie has finally come out, and it appears that nobody went to go see it. The Flash starts off with 9.7 million in previews, which was actually lower than anticipated, and it made less money than Ant-Man Quantumania, which is a far inferior film. Not that this movie was good. And the reality is, people weren't scrambling to want to see a Ezra Miller Flash movie. The guy's kind of a weirdo, and it really shows in this film. I saw it yesterday in a mostly empty theater. I want to say there was probably about 12 people there. And when the movie was over, I wasn't dying of boredom. Though I did leave when the credits start, and mainly because I didn't feel like sticking around to watch the post-credits scene, which apparently was a big bowl of nothing. It was basically Aquaman passed out in a puddle drunk. How exciting. Is it bad? Yeah, it's pretty bad, but nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. The worst movie I've seen in current years still belongs to the Eternals. Was I entertained? A little bit. Was I bored? No, actually I wasn't. I found myself not checking my watch as often like when I watch a Marvel film. Did I enjoy myself? Actually, I did, despite the fact that this movie's not good. Ezra Miller is actually pretty entertaining on screen, and yes, he is a weirdo and he's basically just being Ezra Miller, but he's definitely not boring, which is a good thing to a certain degree, despite the fact that he starts grating on your nerves after a while. Some of the issues I have with the Marvel films is that a lot of the actors they cast, and this could be the problem with the director, is that they simply just don't emote and they just feel like blank pieces of wood. And it's boring. And Ezra Miller is the opposite of that. He is more over the top, despite the fact that, yes, it does get quite grating and annoying. And again, this is not an endorsement of him as an actor. I'm just saying he at least keeps your attention. So, is this movie good? No, not really. Would I recommend people go watch it? No. Wait till it's streaming. It's quite frankly not worth parting with the money. I found the CGI actually worse than a Marvel movie, and it was the Ezra Millerest Ezra Miller we've ever seen in an Ezra Miller film. Could Ezra Miller carry this movie on his own? Definitely not, which is the reason why they brought in Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck. In a lot of ways, I can compare this movie to Batman vs. Superman, because that was mostly, actually I should say loosely, based off of The Dark Knight Returns. And this movie is loosely based off of a watered down Flashpoint that makes a lot less sense. There are hints of a good movie in this film. If they actually went and replaced Ezra Miller with somebody who was more likable and less annoying, and had a decent antagonist that didn't just show up randomly 5 minutes before the film ended, and actually edited it down with a more cohesive narrative on who killed Barry Allen's mom. The plot of this movie is that the Flash travels back in time so Barry Allen can go and stop his mother from being murdered. And we're not sure who actually does the killing, unlike in the Flashpoint story where we know who the actual killer is. In a weird sort of way, it's implied that Barry Allen murders his own mom and frames his dad. And I don't know if this is actually intentional or just a plot hole, and it accidentally implies that Barry killed his mom. It definitely does a better job of handling the multiverse, unlike some of the Marvel films have, or Disney Plus shows, or whatever. And I found it to be a much more enjoyable film than some of the Marvel movies, despite the fact that this movie is actually pretty terrible. It has moments that are really good, and the pacing is actually pretty decent, but cohesively as a narrative, it's kind of a mess, and you get two Ezra Millers for the majority of the film, which gets awfully annoying after a while. Actually, it gets awfully annoying really quick. It's the best superhero movie I've ever seen, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav told the owners at CinemaCon in late April before they were shown the film in full. And my response to this is, are you fucking high? I mean, seriously, this movie, though better than most Marvel movies that we've been seeing in Phase 5, is not good. And it's certainly not the best superhero film ever. That's patently retarded. And I certainly think that this is going to reflect in the box office draw. It's probably going to make less money than Ant-Man Quantumania, which in my opinion is quite a feat. And this movie is chock full of member berries and fan service that I think most normies won't get. There is actually a glimpse at Nick Cage as Superman from the defunct Tim Burton film, Superman Lives, where he's fighting a giant mechanical spider. And the only reason why people would know about this is if they actually heard Kevin Smith talking about it. So ultimately, I give this movie a 4 out of 10 if you really want to go see it. It's definitely a movie that will turn your brain off. Not that you have to turn your brain off to enjoy it. This movie will literally turn your brain off. If you enjoyed this video, I suggest you go check out some more of my content. I have another video where I talk about Phoebe Waller-Bridge's Tomb Raider, so I suggest you go check it out. You should see the thing right around here. And that's pretty much it. That's all I got for today, folks. I'll catch you next time.